You're the first to hear this exclusive leak that we received from a source inside Target headquarters who thought the public needed to know how some of Target's employees responded to last year's boycott. First, let me speak directly to the people that made all this possible. Women. I know it was hard to boycott Target. We were there. We as husbands and men saw you like you weren't busy enough. We saw you drive past that bright red sign and go from store to store to be able to boycott. And with us, with Bud Light, I mean, it's beer. We'll just reach in the fridge for another kind of beer. Victory, real victory, is yours with Target. But it's Pride Month again, which means it's been 1 year since Target rolled out a collection of Pride onesies, tuck-friendly bathing suits, chest binders for girls, and apparel made by some kind of transgender Satan apologist. Not today, Jesus, says Satan. This year, Pride Month, Target has a much more toned-down collection. Like, for instance, let me show you their new Pride Month charcuterie board that says, "It's giving charcuterie." Has no rainbows or pride symbols on it at all. It's just a wooden board. I guess maybe Target thinks charcuterie is gay enough on its own. I'm not really sure. But it's a tame collection of rainbow wine bottles and clothes and nothing like last year. Also, unlike last year, there is nothing for kids. So, victory. Now, some Target locations won't have any Pride merchandise this year. It'll only be sold online in the stores where Target says they've seen historically the strongest sales demand. Okay, that makes sense as a business. To be clear, Target, I don't think, is doing this because corporate had some road to Damascus moment and decided, you know what, we should depoliticize this company and maybe just sell things people want. Remember, this is the same company that in 2016, when most didn't even know, that there were 96 genders, they said, put a statement out that said, "We welcome," I'm quoting, "transgender team members and guests to use the restroom or fitting room facility that corresponds with their gender identity." Well, that makes me comfortable when my kids want to go in and try something out. Their 2023 Sustainability and Governance Report, this Target is one of them that does ESG on their own, says their goal is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. The Target website says Target is an inclusive and anti-racist organization. That's key. It's not non-racist. It has to be, you have to have a little racism to combat racism, you see. So the way I see it, there's only one reason Target has pulled back on their Pride collection, and that is you. But now Target is in a really, really tricky position. And that's because, on one hand, they can't afford another boycott. The New York Post reported that after last year's boycott, Target lost $10 billion in market valuation in 10 days. That's a lot. On the other hand, they have created a brand around being basically woke. And just like Disney, the inmates are now in charge of the asylum. And employees at Target, many, are very woke and militant. Now, to make matters really complicated, that radical staff they have to deal with was not happy last year. Last year, our team was given exclusive access to internal messages that took place on Target's Slack channel for their Pride Plus Business Council. We found culture wars that are taking place because Target is taking a stand and saying, wait, we're going to slow down on this. And the people were not just boycotting. Internally, the employees started a little revolt. And let me show you what we were sent and found.
Eden Pure is back with their famous Thunderstorm air purifier. It's their top seller air purifier that quickly destroys viruses, odors, mold, and so much more. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you know it works. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds of the Thunderstorm being plugged in. Odors, litter boxes. trash can cigarette smokes, dirty diapers. Wow, I don't want to visit that house. The powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and destroy odors. I have these in my house. They're great. The molecules go behind and under furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. Best of all, no filters to buy over and over again, saving you money. Start enjoying your home again and get several thunderstorms. Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for the whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, bedroom, family room, kitchen, wherever you need the air to be clean. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com. Use the promo code BECK and save.
Last year, when you were deciding to boycott Target for their choice to sell chest binders to children, package underwear, Target hosted a town hall to discuss the move to pull back on some of their more controversial merchandise. The people of the Pride Plus Business Council were not pleased inside of Target. One said, quote, "It feels like leadership wants to keep support for LGBTQ causes on the down low. Like they want to be able to point it out to people, make a fuss, but they don't want to advertise it for people who might disagree." Senior management for philanthropic operations agreed, saying, quote, "Reasoning with the down low piece for real." See, what they're saying is Target, while we were saying Target went too far, the employees were upset that they hadn't gone far enough, and now they were pulling back. One employee said, "See, we need to cater to the bigots to get our sales up." Okay. But it wasn't just the town hall announcement that started the internal firestorm at Target. It was the comments in the community chat while it happened. The leaked messages were given to us in backward order, so as we went through them, we saw the Pride Plus Business Council's reaction to the comments before we saw the comments themselves. Remember, we weren't given access to the actual, conversation, just the comments. So we don't know what was said by the Target leadership during the meeting, but we were given snapshots and screenshots of what happened in the chat. So we don't know what they said at the leadership of Target, but it must have been pretty horrible. Based on just the reactions, the comments must have been awful from Target leadership. Here are a few examples of what the chat said during it, how the Pride Plus Business Council was reacting. JPEG 22 here. "I've been through a lot in my life. I have PTSD to show for it. And I got to say that was the most gaslighty dystopian thing I've ever witnessed in a while." Here's another one, JPEG 24. "We need to protect ourselves. There are consequences for hateful statements and displays." So now what did Target say that made their employees say, we got to protect ourselves from these hateful statements and displays? Number 27, a few more. "I'm still in shock and disgusted. I'm sure a lot of people are examining whether they even want to continue being a team member after all of this. Kind of hard to get back to work after that one, huh?" So at this point, we are assuming something truly terrible had happened in that community chat. The acronym HR was repeated over and over again in the chat, and people were talking about filing ethics complaints. One woman put the name and email of an intern who she said was advocating for discrimination. Wow. Another intern was exposed for basically putting thumbs down on a comment, which prompted one of the lead buyers for Target's Pride collection to say, "Each person should be submitted to ethics." An intern who gave a thumbs down on a comment should be submitted to ethics. So what horrible things were these people saying to elicit such an extreme reaction? Surely they had to be sexist, racist tirades that started this chaos. Well, here's what we found, and you may want to sit down for this one because it's pretty darn shocking. Here's one of the comments that we found. A woman who was a Christian, hang on just a second, that wrote this: "I'm a Christian and I don't support violence against guests or team members." Okay. I also don't hate people who view differently than myself. However, for some to say my biblical views are disgusting, that's not inclusive. Wow. Now it gets worse. The people in the chat need to take a look at past year's Pride assortment and compare it to this year's assortment. The backlash this year has been specific to gender plus children. To imply leadership is now bowing down to bigots is highly offensive. Then this. A lead designer who had been at Target for 25 years defended the people who felt a little weird about Target partnering with a designer who currently produces products that say Satan respects pronouns. This lead designer at Target said, so someone who doesn't think a partnership with an artist who glorifies Satan in their products is a bigot? Would Target partner with a similar individual who had a racist-themed product, or would you have the same feeling towards those partnerships? Maybe quit calling names because their beliefs are different than yours. The most inflammatory comment that we could find was made by a woman who started working at Target in the early 2000s. She said, quote, "Not all people agree that giving hormones to kids, which only provides long-term health issues, is a good thing. So inclusivity means ignoring 95% of the population to make sure 5% are able to keep grooming kids," end quote. Read about some of the stories, I'm still quoting now, of the young girls who have had a mastectomy at 13 and are now in their 20s and have horrible health issues from the hormones that they've taken. I don't care what an adult does, but kids should be left alone. Is that unreasonable? My favorite comment was this one, JPEG 45. Our leadership team has a difficult decision to make. They answer to something called shareholders. We are also responsible for thousands of team member jobs. Please don't attack your leadership or your fellow team members when you don't know their heart. We are a business and this is capitalism. Good day now, end quote. Well, Target needed to send out a company-wide letter addressing the comments before the end of the day. And here's what they said. Several comments made during the town hall violated Target's policies. Those incidences are being addressed directly. Target does not tolerate discrimination or hate speech of any kind. Wait, the ones who just said, don't attack the leadership, that's hate speech? That wasn't enough for some of the members of the Pride Plus Business Council. The idea was floated in their chat on the day of the town hall that they needed more organized response. That response came about a month later in the form of a list of demands sent to Target leadership, which we were also given exclusive access to. In the memo, they said they wanted from Target, quote, an acknowledgement of harm, a sincere apology, and a clear statement of unwavering support for the LGBTQ plus community. They wrote, we have always regarded Target as an inclusive and progressive company. However, these recent events have called into question the company's commitment to these values. They said the removal of some of the Pride collection was disappointing and distressing. So for the company to atone, they needed Target to acknowledge in writing the harm done to the LGBTQ plus community, explicitly the trans and non-binary members of the community, forge partnerships with prominent LGBTQ advocacy groups, and immediately reinstate the Pride collection in full, which we know didn't happen, donate to LGBTQ causes, and implement sensitivity training for employees and cease all contributions to politicians and organizations that do not support the LGBTQ community. This is so crazy because here is a company that supports LGBTQ way beyond what other companies do, and they're not woke enough. Even after all that pressure from within the company and all the pressure outside the company from people like Governor Newsom accusing Target CEO of selling out the LGBTQ plus community to extremists, we're the extremists. Target still toned down its Pride collection this year, and they did it because of you. This is a testament of what you can do when we come together, which brings me to the point of this whole story. What is this story really all about? Because I'm not showing you all of this stuff, saying that Target has issues. We know that already. It's why you staged a boycott. I wanted to give you this exclusive story today on Target because I want you to see a couple of things here. First of all, we do have the power to make a difference. We have more power than you think you do. That's why they need to shut people up using fear, okay? The second thing is a little bit of hope and sadness as well. Wokeness will always destroy itself. It's like the plant in Little Shop of Horror. You give it a little bit of blood and it will eventually eat you. And that's what's happening to companies like Target. They created a monster and they planted it inside their own company and it's eating them alive. It's as if all of Target's virtue signaling came to life in the form of some of their employees, and now it's the battle to the death. It's the same in higher education. There are those professors who have been teaching revolutionary theories for years, but are now being run out by the revolutionaries they created. Same thing in the Democratic Party. The new generation of progressives is threatening the Democratic establishment who used to be the radicals for not being radical enough. Wokeness always eats its own, and it's because the entire ideology is fueled by deconstruction and critical theories that rage against the hierarchy or the establishment. And you know what happens when you're in a movement for a while? You, the radical, become the establishment. If you climb your way to the top of the woke ladder, you'll find yourself on the wrong side of the movement eventually, and the new revolutionaries always destroy the old ones. The ending of the story for places like Target and Disney is inevitable. And I think most of us understand that innately, which is why we watch these stories unfold like it's the end of the Daytona 500. We know someone's going to crash. It's just a matter of time. So what do? Do we sit back, point, and laugh? No, that would be tempting and fun a little bit, but not useful. Because in the short term, whatever crash is coming is going to affect all of us. There are plenty of sane people, normal people that work at Target, like the ones that we saw trying to be reasonable in their community chat. All of us are going to be caught in the crossfire of these woke institutions as they implode. We just need to be ready to fill the vacuum that it's going to create. In the long term, we have to focus on creating an alternative business, movies, media, everything. That's what we need, alternatives, kind, gracious, decent alternatives. You build it, they destroy, but you build, you restore. Wokeness is a destructive force. We just have to hold on to our values and be ready to rebuild.